What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPapa, and here we are with another incredible data set that is sent to us directly from TCG Player. And you know how excited I get when TCG Player sends us information. You know, when you think about the buying and selling of Pokemon cards, when you think about the velocity that happens with on the TCG Player website, it's probably second only to eBay. But I do think that the people who shop on TCG Player are a little bit different than the eBay shoppers, right? Like the holidays is a great time to call this out. I bet a bunch of people, a bunch of mom and dads like me and my wife, we're all on eBay trying to buy stuff for our kids. And so I think it's a different type of person who is buying on eBay versus TCG Player, where I think you really have the collecting and investing enthusiasts there on the website. So we have tracked all kinds of TCG Player information for well over a year now, and we've done video series like this month in and month out, and it's just been really exciting because the more times we do these video series, the more times TCG Player shares this type of information with us, and I have the opportunity to build a deck and share it with you. We start to notice these really cool patterns and trends, and one of the biggest takeaways has been, you know, this list is the cards that have gained the most in value over the last 30 days. But we do another video series, same thing, TCG Player sends us the information that focuses on the 10 Pokemon Singles cards that have exchanged hands the most. So not necessarily gained the most in value, but have been trading with the most velocity on the TCG Player website. And I'm going to do a whole separate video series on that, but we learn all kinds of cool stuff from that. When we see cards that are on that list multiple months in a row, it is a great indicator that eventually they're going to end up on this list right here. And if you follow this video series at all, and if you follow this channel at all, you're going to see some cards on here that are very familiar that we've been talking about on the series where we talk about cards that exchange hands the most. So anyways, that's why I do what I do. I have so much fun on the data side of things. I have so much fun on the trend analysis side of things. And one of the things I really enjoy about this video as well is it's not just ultra modern cards. I mean, yeah, okay, most of these are ultra modern cards, but it expands beyond what a lot of people are currently talking about, which is Twilight Masquerade, Surging Sparks, Prismatic Evolutions. You know, that's where everybody's focused right now. But if you look, the 10 cards that are on this list, you have 4 that are from Scarlet and Violet. You have 2 that are prize pack cards, right? Stamp promos have been going absolutely nuts. You got 2 Scarlet and Violet promos, so again, a lot of not over, but you know, a lot of cards in the Scarlet and Violet space. You do have one from Sword and Shield, and then you have one card from the 1999 base set, and that gets me really excited. You know that I love being in the modern space. I'm a heavy collector in the modern space, but when I have a long-term time horizon, 15, 20 years and beyond, I do think that at least in the singles card space, some of the singles cards from some of these OG sets have a great opportunity for long-term price appreciation. I think they're flying under the radar. I think not a lot of people are paying attention to them. Populations are really low, and so when I think 20 years from now, I think they have an opportunity to really grow. So seeing a card like that on this list gets me incredibly excited. Now, with that out of the way, as I always have to do, listen, I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. So, of course, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I think that is really cool, and it's a great opportunity for me, at least, to call out how thankful I am for each and every one of you who watch this channel and take part in this. I read all of your comments. I absolutely love it. Even the ones who provide feedback. Like, I am always trying to get better, so even if you provide critical feedback, I always take it with a grain of salt. I always try and learn from it, and I'm really appreciative of all that you do. So thank you very much. I am thankful for you, and I hope you guys have an awesome Thanksgiving. Now, with that out of the way, listen, if you enjoy this channel, if you enjoy the data-driven approach, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and if you got questions or comments, drop them down below. But now we're done with me blabbering. Let's look at the 10 cards that have gone up the most in price over the last month on TCG Player. And starting off with a card that needs absolutely no introduction and is a great example of one of the cards that was on the list of cards that had exchanged hands the most for multiple months in a row prior to the price spike. It's the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. And the card is up 31% over the last month. It's getting near that $150 mark. You can see it's hitting a little bit of a resistance line up there at the $150 mark. I do think eventually it has the opportunity to possibly break up beyond that. And then if it breaks over 150, who knows how high is. But you look at the other thing that's been fast following the move of this card is the Paldean Fates Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box. You all know I am borderline obsessed with that product. Matter of fact, the Twilight Masquerade Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box just sold out. Twilight Masquerade's a fantastic set. Wait for that thing to pop off because I have a feeling it's going to do that. But for the longest time, you could get this specialty set Pokemon Center exclusive ETB right just above retail. And it's been sold out in the Pokemon Center almost since day one. So I just think it's a fantastic product. I think the Charizard's going off. Spoiler alert, you might see a couple more Paldean Fates cards on here, so I thought you can't talk about the rise in price of this Charizard unless you talk about the PC ETB it comes from as well. So two awesome products that are doing really well, and I do think they have a very bright future ahead of them. Now, the next card on the list right here, the Pikachu with gray felt hat. So you know, I gotta laugh about this card because the numbers are just insane. So we do a grading report video on this channel every month where I look at the actual grading volumes from SGC, CGC, Beckett, and PSA. And in that video, we look at the most graded sets, the most graded cards, and this Pikachu with gray felt hat was the #1 most graded card at PSA in the TCG space for 10 months in a row before it was finally dethroned last month. It dropped to #2. And what does that mean? That means there have been over 60,000 of these Pikachu with gray felt hat cards graded at PSA, which is just an incredibly high number. And there is 31,000 of them in PSA 10 holders. But guess what? We always talk about this, supply and demand. They're two different factors, right? Like demand is the most important part. So even though the supply for this card in PSA holders is through the roof, there's 31,000 PSA 10s. To put that in perspective, there's only 14,000 Moonbreons out there. But even with all of that, right? 31,000 PSA 10s. This card is still up almost 32% over the last month with the raw card coming in at $177. It's just a really cool card, really amazing story with how it launched. I mean, it literally crashed the Pokemon Center website when this card became available. People were throwing fisticuffs over in Amsterdam trying to get this. I mean, it's just, I love cards that have big name characters like this and also have a really cool origin story like this card does. So really cool to see the card pop up on this list. Next one we're going to talk about right here, as I referenced a minute ago, the Moonbreon. And listen, $1,400 for a raw ultra modern card is an incredible amount of money, but it doesn't matter what I think. All that matters is what the market thinks, and the market sure seems to think that $1,400 is right where this card should be priced at. You know, those light blue bar graphs right there, those represent the number of sales, and you will see that there have been 3 sales right at that $1,388, $1,400 mark over the last week. So listen, everybody's in love with the Moonbreon. Evolving Skies is having an incredible moment right now, and this card, as I said, it's up 36% over the last month. I have no idea where the top is. This card is just it's just doing all kinds of things. So it's really cool to watch it happen. Certainly a stunning card. And we'll see how kind of like the momentum behind the Moonbreon, we'll see what that has to do with Prismatic Evolutions, or is the momentum of Prismatic Evolutions causing the Moonbreon to pop? Who knows? Either way, they certainly seem to be working in lockstep with one another. Next card right here, we talked about the stamped cards, and this is from the Play Pokemon series, and this Gengar V, it's up 82% over the last 3 months. I was just going to do the 1 month graph, but that was not enough to kind of validate all of the movements that we've seen in this space. You know I love Gengar. Gengar is my dog, one of my all-time favorite Pokemons. I am a huge Gengar collector, especially the older cards of Gengar, but watching this card go from $30 all the way up to $58 over the last 3 months has been nothing short of amazing. And if you ever want to see something really cool, you can go on TCG Player and you can just look at these prize pack series cards, and some of the prices are absolutely out of this world. $58 isn't even close to the top and high end of some of these prize pack cards. So it's really interesting. I keep saying to myself in my mind, I'm like, man, are these going to lose momentum? Are people going to get tired of them? I mean, it's just got the stamp on it, but every time I say that to myself, I do a video like this and there's another one that pops up just like this Gengar. So who knows? Maybe they're here to stay. It certainly is a lot of fun to watch along the way. Now, the very next card right here, as I said, Paldean Fates is having itself a moment. This is the Gardevoir, up almost 50% over the last month. One of the cards that, as much as I love Paldean Fates, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this card ages over time. I think the artwork is absolutely fire. Obviously, Gardevoir was a very playable Pokemon here as of late, and it's going to be interesting. You got the Bubble Mew at the very top, you got the Charizard EX, you got this Gardevoir coming in at #3, and after that, you got the shiny Pikachu, you got a shiny you've got some great cards in Paldean Fates, but it's going to be interesting to see if this card can kind of hold on to that $62 price point over the long run. I think in the short run, it's going to be just fine. Lots of hype around Paldean Fates right now. So I think in the short run, it's going to hold on to it. But what I'm interested in is when we look back 3-5 years from now, is this going to be a $60 card? Is it going to be a $100 card? Or is it going to lose a little bit of momentum when we get the next kind of generation of Pokemon cards out and drop back in the $40 range? We'll see. But all I know right now is it's had one heck of a month, up almost 50%. Next one right here. Anything from these Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, these stamped promos. I'm pulling together a video where we're going to talk about the state of the hobby. I do it every single month. And just for fun, I looked at all of the stamped promos that come from all of these Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, not just the earlier ones, and all of them are they're just performing incredibly well. And I don't think anything is going to hold them back. This Pikachu one right here is absolutely phenomenal artwork. This comes from the Paldean Fates Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box. It's up almost 56% over the last month, coming in at $63. It's just a really cool card. You know, if you've been following this channel at all, you know that I've been very, very fortunate. I got really aggressive with buying these early on. I've got a couple PSA 10s, and I'm going to hold on to them for the long run because I do think that over the grand scheme of things, over a lot of time, I think these cards are going to continue to appreciate in value. Really low gem rates and really low population because I don't think a lot of people are ripping those Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes, at least as of right now. So cool story, will be fascinating to watch, and as you know, I love this card very, very much. Next one right here. All kinds of excited to see the Venusaur from base set on here. You know, over the last 3 months, this card has had a pretty big spike. I talked about it about a month ago. I was highlighting some of these base set cards that had really started to kind of pop up in value. And as I say all the time, you look at that light blue bar versus the dark blue line, and you can see that there was 6 of these cards that were purchased in a single day. And that's a buyout, right? In my mind, that's a buyout. There probably weren't a ton of these that were listed on TCG Player. Somebody went, they bought all of them that were available. They listed some new ones. And, you know, one of my call outs was, you know, how long after an event like that is it going to be able to hold on to its price? Well, you can see that there's been multiple sales of this card since then, and it seems to be holding in the $120 range. So we'll see if it can maintain it long run. But again, when I think of just in the long term, 20 years down the road, I think these 1999 base set cards are just going to do really well. So it's probably a set it and forget it. You're not going to see a lot of short-term gains, but man, I just think these cards have a very bright future. And even if they don't, if you're a true Pokemon collector, like how cool is it just to have the base set cards sitting around your house? I mean, what a cool story it'll be to talk about those, I don't know, 15, 20 years from now. So love to see this card pop up. It's going to be interesting to see if it can hold on to its gains, but you know I'm keeping an eye on all these older cards pretty much all the time. Now, the next card we're going to talk about right here, the Bubble Mew. Okay, it's been crazy, and this is another one. I know we always highlight, you know, 1 month gains here, but again, I blew this out to the last 3 months just to show you that it has gone through a couple different iterations. It was in that $80, $90 range for a long time, and we've seen this card for, I think it's 6 consecutive months now. It has been on that top 10 cards that exchange hands the most on TCG Player list. We've been talking about it, and then really recently is when the price started to absolutely spike up. You see it spiked up to about $160, $170, then it flattened out a little bit, and now it's all the way up really around the $210, $212 mark. So the Bubble Mew, Paldean Fates as a whole, like I said, it's having a moment. This is a card that I do think has a little bit of iconicness to it. Now, is it going to hold on to this $200 price point? I've learned I have no idea what the ultra modern market is going to do. I'm not here to wave a crystal ball around and give you some kind of magical projection, but that's a lot of money for a card. But I will say this, it's a specialty set, right? There's no booster boxes available. I love the artwork. I think it's iconic. You know I love any card that has multiple different Pokemon on it. So if any card can maintain it, I certainly think this Mew can do it. It's got all the right intangibles, and I'll be excited to see how this one performs in the long run. So next card right here. Stamped promos continue to litter this list of cards that are jumping up in price. Right here is another one. This Charmander card, all it has is that GameStop stamp there in the bottom right-hand corner of the illustration, and that seems to make it a $55 card. It is up 56% over the last month, which is absolutely insane. Again, you take that GameStop promo stamp away, and this is a, I don't know, 50-cent card, right? This is a common card, but because it has the stamp on it, which adds a high degree of rarity. These are hard to find, and they're certainly very hard to get in high grade, but because it's got the stamp, it's got a lot of demand. And you can see, again, look at those light blue bars. It's not like there's 1 or 2 sales, you know, every 15 days, right? I mean, there are multiple sales of this card going on every single day on TCG Player. So there's people who are buying it. There's people who are willingly paying in that $55, $60 range. You'll see not long ago, it was all the way up in the mid 60s. So hey, there's something about stamped promos, and that just gives us the idea here is when future stamped promos are coming out, take a wild swing. Go ahead and get them in the collection. A worst case scenario is they're going to appreciate a little. Best case scenario is you might get some of the results that we've seen for some of these other stamped promos on here. Last one right here, another play Pokemon card, and I had to go back and check this. Like, I continually, especially with these play Pokemon cards, if I see a price on TCG Player, I almost immediately go to eBay in order to take a look and just verify that these prices, and I'm telling you right now, even on eBay, these play Pokemon cards are going for ridiculous amounts of money, and this Mew EX is up 100% over the last month. It has doubled in value from just a little over $50 up to $107.77 as it is today. And again, look at that light blue graph, right? You had 8 sales one day, you had 5 sales another day, multiple sales all these other days. I mean, people are snapping this up left and right. So the play Pokemon cards are certainly having themselves a moment. We're going to keep an eye on it. It certainly makes me want to go out and be in the place in order to make sure that I can get some play Pokemon packs, because it is hard to beat these kind of price gains that everybody is seeing right now in that space. So listen, that's the list of the top 10 cards that have gained the most in value on TCG Player over the last month. I am super pumped to continue to do these series. I'm super pumped to kind of layer in all of these other TCG Player learnings that we have, maybe come up with some trends or some analysis, and give all of us a leg up when it comes to collecting and investing. You work hard for your money, I work hard for mine, and I know we all want to make the best decisions we can when we go ahead and spend that money on Pokemon products. So that's the goal of the channel. I hope you have an epic one. One more time, have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I appreciate you more than I can say. If you made it to the end of the video and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. If you have questions, comments, drop them down below. Thank you so much. Have an epic one, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later, everybody. Bye.